Imagine two species of humans standing face to face. One a muscular, stocky survivor of the Ice Age. The other smaller, smarter, and armed with something far more powerful than brute strength. This isn't science fiction. This is history. And today, we're diving into the true story of how one human species outlasted and outsmarted another. This is the story of us and how we, Homo sapiens, defeated the Neanderthals around 300,000 years ago. The world wasn't ruled by just one type of human. We, Homo sapiens, were just one branch of a much larger human family tree. In Ice Age Europe, the Neanderthals, Homo neanderthalensis, had already mastered the art of survival. They were strong, adapted to cold, and had brains just as big as ours. But in Africa, something different was evolving. A new kind of human, with lighter builds, more creativity, and a growing ability to work together. Around 70,000 years ago, Homo sapiens began to leave Africa and spread across the globe. Eventually, we met our ancient cousins, the Neanderthals in Europe and the Middle East. The first encounters, likely a mix of curiosity, tension, and even romance. Yes, recent DNA studies show that many of us today still carry Neanderthal genes. But over time, something shifted. This wasn't a war of armies. It was a battle of survival over food, land, and harsh environments. Neanderthals were incredible hunters, but lacked long-distance trade and advanced tools. Meanwhile, Homo sapiens began forming larger groups, using language to share ideas, and even creating art and religion. These weren't just decorations. They were signs of abstract thinking, a kind of thinking that gave us a serious edge. So how did we win? Here's what made the difference. 1. Communication. We used complex language to coordinate hunts, pass down knowledge, and form stronger bonds. 2. Innovation. We crafted better tools, used fire more effectively, and adapted to different environments quickly. 3. Social networks. We created alliances beyond family groups, networks that helped us survive droughts, famine, and enemies. 4. Strategy and planning. We hunted smarter, not harder, and used the environment to our advantage. Over thousands of years, Homo sapiens began to dominate the lands once controlled by Neanderthals. By 40,000 years ago, the Neanderthals were gone. Did we wipe them out? Or did they simply fade as climates shifted and competition grew? Most scientists believe it wasn't one event, but a slow decline mixed with interbreeding, disease, and pressure from us. In the end, they didn't vanish without a trace. They live on inside many of us. Let's take a step back for a moment. What truly defined the difference between Neanderthals and Homo sapiens wasn't just tools, or strength, or even brains. It was the power of culture. Neanderthals lived in smaller, more isolated groups, but Homo sapiens, we formed tribes, networks, even early societies. That might sound simple, but it changed everything. Neanderthals were excellent survivors, but they lived moment to moment. Day to day, Homo sapiens began to dream. We imagined gods in the stars, carved symbols in bones, and painted our hopes and fears onto the walls of caves. These weren't just signs of intelligence. They were signs of meaning, burials, symbolism, music. These gave sapiens not just a reason to survive, but a reason to live, and that purpose, that shared belief, made us stronger than any single muscle ever could. But nature had its own plans. Around 45,000 years ago, the Earth's climate grew harsher. The Ice Age was tightening its grip. Neanderthals, already limited in number, were pushed to the brink. As their world shrank, Homo sapiens' flexible strategies kept us thriving. We adapted, we moved, we shared knowledge across long distances. In the great test of evolution, resilience beat resistance. It's easy to imagine the extinction of Neanderthals as a violent conquest, but the truth is far more complex and more human. We didn't just replace Neanderthals, we absorbed them. DNA from Neanderthals lives on in millions of people today, especially outside of Africa. In fact, some of the traits we carry, skin tone, immune system strength, may have come from them. So while they vanished from the Earth, they didn't vanish from us. What does the fall of the Neanderthals teach us? That being human is not about being the biggest, fastest, or strongest. It's about being adaptable, creative, and most importantly, connected. The same skills that helped our ancestors survive 50,000 years ago are still the keys to our survival today. As we face new global challenges, climate change, AI, pandemics, the lesson remains the same. We survive best when we survive together. The Neanderthals were not monsters. They laughed, they cared, they lived. And in many ways, they were the first humans to fall in love with the world around them, only to be outlived by the ones who dared to imagine it could be better. Their story didn't end. It became part of ours. Neanderthals weren't the only other humans we met in our journey across the world. In Siberia, we found the mysterious Denisovans, cousins of Neanderthals with DNA that still lives on in people from Tibet and Papua New Guinea. They're a reminder that we didn't walk alone through prehistory. There were at least 6 other human species alive during our rise. Some were tiny, like the Homo floresiensis the hobbit, on a remote island in Indonesia. Others, like Homo erectus, had spread across the world long before us. And yet here we are, the last human species left standing. So why did we make it when the rest didn't? Some scientists believe it was our ability to cooperate in large groups, to trust strangers through shared beliefs, rituals, and language. Others point to our symbolic thinking, our ability to imagine things that didn't exist. Like spirits, rules, nations, and gods, that creativity gave us culture. Culture gave us structure, and structure gave us resilience. We weren't just surviving the Ice Age. We were redefining what it meant to be human. Imagine a different world, one where Neanderthals never went extinct. Would they have cities of their own? Governments, space programs? Would they be fighting for their rights? Or blending into ours? Would we live in peace? Or repeat the same mistakes we've made with others who are different? Or maybe, just maybe, we would have learned what it means to coexist, to celebrate, not erase difference. Today, you can swab your cheek, send off a test, and find out if you carry Neanderthal DNA. From how you respond to pain, to how easily you sunburn, their legacy still touches your life. We are not just their replacements, we are their descendants. The story of the Neanderthals is not one of defeat. It's a story of legacy, of connection, of the wild, unpredictable path that led to us. And if we listen closely to the bones, the caves, the buried ashes, they still speak. So in the end, the story of the Neanderthals is not simply about extinction. It's a story of survival, competition, and ultimately a mysterious disappearance, one that shaped the destiny of our species. They were strong, intelligent, adaptable, yet it was Homo sapiens, us who crossed continents, sailed oceans, built empires, and now search the stars. But make no mistake, we carry them with us. In our DNA, in our memories, in the shadows of our myths. They laughed, they hunted, they mourned their dead. They were human, just a different kind. And had things gone slightly differently, maybe they would be the ones telling our story. We didn't conquer them with swords. We outlasted them, perhaps with stories, language, imagination. And that may be our greatest power of all. We are the only species left. And with that comes a responsibility to remember those who walked before us, to learn from their fate, and to ensure that we too do not disappear into the cold silence of extinction. Because in the grand story of life, even the most dominant species can vanish. So let us stay wise, stay humble, and never stop asking, what does it truly mean to be human? Thank you for watching. If you're fascinated by prehistoric mysteries and the untold stories of our ancestors, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. And in the comments, tell us if Neanderthals had survived. What kind of world might we live in today? Stay curious, stay human.